criticism has come in hard and fast for the French Prime Minister's budget plan, which he said could include a reduction in the number of public holidays as part of a bid to tackle what he called the curse of his country's debt. After years of overspending, France is on notice to control its public deficit and cut its sprawling debt as required under EU rules. By announcing a raft of measures on Tuesday for the 2026 budget, Bayrou was perhaps hoping to get in early and leave some margin for negotiation, but politicians across the spectrum have hit out. Marine Le Pen from the far-right National Rally threatened to put forward a vote of no confidence if Bayrou didn't revise his plan. Far-left figure Jean-Luc Mélenchon called for Bayrou's resignation, while his colleague Mathilde Panot accused the Prime Minister of starting a, quote, social war. Take a listen.
Suppose these measures are taken. What's going to happen next year to save money? There'll be nothing left. The Prime Minister will have taken everything from the French people, and there will be no structural savings. So it's a failure because it's socially unfair and economically stupid. It's a purge without the solution.
It's worse than expected. It's a terrible budget that's unfair and burdens the French people with the equivalent of the tax breaks granted to the richest since 2017.
For us, in any case, the budget presented is not votable under these conditions in the National Assembly.
For more on this story, I'm joined by our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Philip, the bottom line here is that the state coffers are empty.
I think more than empty. There is absolutely nothing in there apart from just a bit of dust at the bottom or a few feathers, to be quite honest with you. The debt in France is so bad, and this is something that François Bayrou underlined yesterday, that it's costing 5,000 euros a second. It's 3.3 trillion euros, that's 113% of GDP, and that has gone up by 185 billion euros or 6% in 2025 alone. So that's why the government is saying, look, we're going to have to do something because we really do need to save money. So what François Bayrou, the Prime Minister, is attempting to do is to save not 3.3 trillion euros in 1 year. What he wants to do is to save the sum of 43.8 billion euros. That is what he's saying he can economise over the next 12 months if the measures that he's proposing are accepted and they are then signed into law by a vote in the National Assembly. Now, just another figure to put this all into perspective for you, Caris, is that if nothing is done, then France not only has $3.3 trillion worth of debt, but it has to pay for that debt. It has to pay interest on the loans that it borrows on a regular basis because it's spending more than it's bringing in. And just on an annual basis at the moment, the government is paying 53 billion euros just in interest rates alone. That's not even paying off the debt. So that's why the coffers are empty. There's been no balanced debt in France for over 50 years, and it's been slowly getting worse and worse, particularly since the COVID outbreak in 2020. So that's why this time round François Bayrou is trying to come up with some kind of solution. What he's saying is, look, I'm chucking all this into the ring. You discuss amongst yourselves what you think is right and wrong, and then we'll try and work out a solution.
Right, so the situation's dire, but what exactly has he put forward?
Okay, so there are about 5 main proposals, if you like. The first one is, as you mentioned, to work on 2 public holidays. The second one to freeze state handouts for a year. The third one is for 3,000 civil servants or government employees to be axed and 1 in 3 not to be replaced once they reach retirement age. Also to encourage people to work longer. No mention of the 35-hour week and a plan to abolish that and make people work longer, like 39 hours, which is what it used to be in France beforehand. And the other point is to sell off state-owned property. The Prime Minister is saying the government owns many buildings around the country. It doesn't need to have all this property under its belt. It should sell that off. That would bring in welcome money to the state coffers. Now, as far as the public holidays are concerned, this is really the crux of the matter, which has enraged people. There are 2 dates being considered. The first one is Easter Monday, and the second one is May the 8th. May the 8th is Victory in Europe Day, which was inaugurated at the end of the Second World War to celebrate the end of Nazi Germany. Now, the opposition is saying this is totally ridiculous. How can you do away with Victory in Europe Day at a time when there is a war in Ukraine, at the time when there is a war in Gaza, where we're facing growing threats from Russia? This is something we need to keep. There should be some other day chosen, but basically the opposition doesn't want those days to be done away with. They say that it is unjust, and it's still the average French person who will be picking up the tab. What the Prime Minister is saying here is this is a very fair budget, which means everybody from low-paid people to high-paid people to people who are retired will all have to contribute something to trying to get the country back on its feet. And doing away with these two public holidays is a way for everybody to contribute something to getting France back out of the red and into the green.
And as you mentioned, quite a few people are angry about this. Tell us more about the reactions.
Well, it's gone down like a lead balloon with the opposition. You were mentioning Marine Le Pen, the leader of the far-right National Rally Party. She has basically said that if François Bayrou doesn't review his proposals, the National Rally will call for a vote of no confidence. That's in the discussion and the vote on this, which is due to take place after the summer break. There's also been a pretty damning reply from the Communist Party on the left, from the president of that party, Fabien Roussel, who says we're looking at an organised hold-up more than ever. There are new Bastilles which need to be stormed. Of course, there's coming a day after Bastille Day, which marks the beginning of the French Revolution in 1789. The big question now is, will this lead to a vote of no confidence? Will the left and the right and the centre in government come together to join forces to bring down the government of François Bayrou? The problem for the government and for Emmanuel Macron is that Emmanuel Macron is vastly unpopular in France right now, only about 23 to 25% of favourable opinion polls in this country. And he doesn't have an overall majority in the National Assembly. So to push this budget through, he needs the support of other opposition parties for it to push through, to be a success. He can try to push it through without a vote, but then there will be a vote on whether or not the opposition has confidence in the government. This happened last time round, and after only 3 months, the former Prime Minister, Michel Barnier, was overthrown, and that was the end of his government. That was the first time that happened since 1962. So François Bayrou has been in office since January. He's going to be facing his make or break moment after the summer break when there is a vote on this budget. It's looking pretty difficult for him. But the bottom line is that France is in dire straits financially, and something has got to be done to try to put the accounts right. This is a courageous move, maybe by the Prime Minister. It's certainly been welcomed by the Employers' Federation and by businesses, but it's certainly been chastised by the opposition. So it's unclear where all this is going to go after the summer break. We'll have to wait and see how the vote goes in Parliament.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Philip Turle, for breaking it down for us.